Hey everyone, welcome back to my number sense series. In this video, we're going to talk about how to multiply numbers in the form 100a times 90b. Now, if you haven't watched my two other videos on how to multiply 100 and something and 100 and something and 90 something and 90 something, please go watch those two first because those are going to give you a really good foundation for this video, which is, of course, the hardest. Now, you'll see in a bit why this is the hardest video out of the three, but let's just see it. First, we'll use the same idea by expanding these in terms of 100s. So I'll say 104 is 100 plus 4, and 98 is 100 minus 2. Now, when we FOIL this out, what we're going to get is 100 times 100 plus 4 times 100 minus 2 times 100 minus 8. Now here, you might begin to see the reason that this is a little bit different from the other two. In the other two, all we had was a plus here. But now, due to the fact that we have a plus and a times a minus, we have minus 8. And that minus 8 is going to create a few problems. But it's nothing we can't handle. So what do we get when we add all of this up? We get 100 100s plus 4 100s minus 2 100s. In total, that's going to be 102 100s. So we're going to have 10200 minus 8. So our final answer is 10192. Now, looking at this answer, it's not immediately clear where everything comes from. If I just gave you this right to here, it's pretty difficult to tell where the numbers come from. There's no 1 that we can make with these. There's no 92 for sure. So where do we get these? Well, let's first think of it as 101 and then 92. This will help us later. So 101, it is pretty close to 102, right? But why is it a 101? Well, it's a 101 because we needed to kind of split this up in order to get the subtraction to work. We can think of 10200 minus 8 as being 10100 plus 100 minus 8. And now it's much clearer. What we have is 10100 plus 92. So now we see that this 92 actually is 100 minus 8. And this 101 at the start is 102 minus 1. And where did this 102 come from? It came from 100 plus 4 minus 2. And the minus 8, of course, comes from 4 times negative 2. So even if you don't understand the trick just yet, it should become more clear when we do the next problem. So again, in the next problem, I am going to expand everything out so you can see what's going on. It's going to be 100 plus 7 times 100 minus 4. Now what we get when we expand this out is 100 times 100 plus 7 times 100 minus 4 times 100 minus 28. And now how many 100s do I have? I have 100 plus 7 minus 4, which is 103 times 100 minus 28. And now you can see kind of the trick forming. We have a minus 28, we have a 103. And that 103 comes from plus 7 minus 4. And so when we do the final step of subtracting, we'll get 10272. So our goal in number sense is, of course, to skip every single one of these steps and go from the start to the end immediately. So let's think about it. How could we have gone from the start to the end immediately? Just like in our other two videos, the first step is to compute how much these two differ from 100 by. 107 differs from 100 by a plus 7. And now here's the important part. We need to make sure that the signs are correct. So we've got a plus 7 here. 96 is 100 minus 4. So we'll call it a plus 7 and a minus 4. Now with the plus 7 and a minus 4, here's how we get 102. We get 102 from 100, then plus 7, then minus 4 is 103. But it's not 103 because there is going to be some borrowing of the digits for subtraction, right? So instead of 103, we're going to write 102. Now, we have 102. Where does the 72 come from? Well, the 72 comes from 100. And note that that 100 comes from the 103, right? So it's 100 minus, quote, 7 times negative 4. So it's 100 minus 28, which is 72. That's where you get 102 and 72. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, our next problem is going to be something very similar. So if you can, and if you want to, try to do this in your head right now. If you can't, that's totally all right. We'll go over it with FOIL. So here's how we do it with FOIL. We'll say 100 plus 4 times 100 minus 7. And so that's going to give us, again, 100 times 100 plus 4 times 100 minus 7 times 100 minus 28, which is, 4 times 7. So how many 100s do I have? I have 100 plus 4 minus 7, which is going to be 97 times 100 minus 28. And so my final answer is going to be 9672. Now, let's try, and if you've done this already, congrats, but let's try to go from here to here once again, okay? My first step is, of course, to be computing the difference. So let's compute the difference. This difference is plus 4, and this difference is minus 7. Plus 4 and minus 7. Let's keep that in mind. Plus 4 minus 7. Now, what are our first few digits? It's 100 plus 4 minus 7, which is going to be 97. But, like here, we're not going to write 97 because when we subtract, we're going to have to borrow, right? So instead of writing 97, we're going to write 96. That's where the 96 comes from. Now, where we get 72, just like in here, this 72 is 100 minus, or 100 plus our 4 times negative 7. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. So it's 100 minus 28, which is 72. That's how you would do that. If those few examples don't make sense, please go ahead and rewatch, try to FOIL it out if you can until it really does make sense, because these are going to be needed for some of these problems going on. So 103 times 97. This is a tiny bit different from our other ones, but of course, if you know the trick, still very easy. 103 times 97 is going to be 100 plus 3 times 100 minus 3. And now here, if you know what a difference of squares is, which is going to be covered in another video very soon, you can actually just do this question without using our trick right here. But I'm assuming that we don't know this yet, so we are going to use it with 100 plus 3 and 100 minus 3. But know that in the future, you'll be able to do this in just about 2 seconds flat. 100 plus 3 and 100 minus 3, that's 100 times 100 plus 3 times 100 minus 3 times 100 minus 9. So how many 100s do I have? I have 100 plus 3 minus 3 is just 100. So I have just 10,000 minus 9, which is going to be 9991. And now let's try to do this in our heads. 9991, where did that come from? Let me erase this real quick. Where did we get 9991? Well, let's say this is a plus 3, this is a minus 3. So what are my first two digits going to be? It's going to be 100 plus 3 minus 3, 100, and then minus 1 again. Because remember, we're carrying. So 100 minus 1, 99. Then our last two digits are going to be plus 3 times minus 3, that's minus 9. 100 minus 9 is 91, 9991, not so bad. Now, the last kind of problem that you'll see is, just like in our other two videos, sometimes they will try to trick you. They will try to disguise these problems by using some smaller numbers that will multiply eventually to something like this. So we have to notice what's going on right here. 8 times 13 is 104. 2 times 47 is 94. So we're going to regroup this. Remember, we can, of course, do this because the order of multiplication does not matter. 2 times 47 is 94. 8 times 13 is 104. And sadly, these are things that you'll just have to know for these problems. So practice those times tables. 94 and 104. So let's do it in our head. No scratch work allowed, right? 94 is a minus 6. 104 is a plus 4. So our first two digits are going to be 100 minus 6 plus 4, that's 98. And then remember, minus 1 again, so it's 97. And what's our last two digits? Our last two digits are going to be minus 6 times plus 4. That's minus 24, right? Then 100 minus 24 is 76. So we're going to get 9776. And that is our answer. Now, with this, I will say it is pretty difficult. Compared to something that was much easier, like the 102 times 103, this is more involved. You have to know what to multiply. You have to keep like this times this in your head. Then you have to do the conversion to the difference from 100, right? This is kind of a lot to do. So don't be discouraged if you can't really do this quite yet. Just really focus on the fundamentals of being able to keep numbers in your head, understanding especially what's going on here. Because remember, this is the hardest trick out of the 3 that we've done in the previous videos. So don't be discouraged, just keep trying. But if you understand this, you know you're well on your way to like mastering number sense. Thank you for watching.